it became apparent after the third year that this could happen all the time. It could, we get hit by a hurricane every year. The weather's unpredictable over here, especially in October. And so we decided that we decided to think about doing a fourth haunted house. The question was definitely up in the air whether we would do one at all.
We planned the fourth year pretty late, considering that we were deterred from the third year. Honestly, I think that we were just so disappointed with the third year that it affected us in the fourth year. But in the long run, I think the fourth year turned out to be a pretty decent year.
We really didn't want to do one again until probably July or August, when I finally decided to do one. So we decided the fourth year would be done. We definitely needed a new direction to take the story. We needed another mascot because we decided we were going to change the theme. The funhouse, we were done with it. We were burnt out of the funhouse. So we decided to do the Boondocks. It was the most obvious thing because the year before we had a large scarecrow area and it was very effective. It was my favorite part of the haunted house, and I always thought that expanding that for the whole theme would be very cool. So in 2008 we took that a step further and just made the whole haunt scarecrows and rednecks and fire pits and old shacks and rotten wood and claustrophobia and all those sorts of things.
Yeah, year four was a little bit different. We had more of a boondocks scarecrow kind of theme, which Brandon's been wanting to do for years. We just never really pulled the trigger on that one, and then we finally got to with year 4. So that was cool to do, try something new and have a new theme going.
It's just, I think that we were ready to do it. And we did it, and it turned out very good. I mean, the rotting wood was just perfect, with the storm being the year prior, having all our wood deteriorate.
When I first heard that year 4 was going to be Boondocks, I was kind of disappointed because I didn't think we could do that much with it. I thought it was going to be boring.
Yeah.
But then it turned out really good. Like, it was the best haunted house we had had.
The best plot so far. The story was awesome. I remember when Brandon first contacted me months before the haunted house, him calling me up, telling me to come over and just, read the story and tell him what I thought. I read it and I thought it was awesome. You can make a whole freaking movie out of that. The plot he made, the story he made was just awesome. It was the creepiest one he's made so far, And plus it's a little different, straying away from the clown. I thought it was a lot better, I
don't think we used one bit of plastic sheeting that year. We all used either heavy tarp supported by a lot of wood or built wood construction, because if a storm did come, it was definitely going to hold up at least a lot better than the third year, because the third year was so much black sheeting that it was obvious why it got torn down. It was too heavy.
And I mean, we did one hell of a job putting it together. I think it was actually by far the best year as far as decorations and the haunted house itself. We actually got a lot of experience with the fourth year.
And it allowed us all, as far as building it and the actors, to be a little bit more creative and to expand on different characters and different props and whatnot.
We basically made a lot more houses in that than we ever did. Really just fully enclosed spaces for people to walk through, and I think that made it a lot scarier.
We built shacks and houses and out of wood, and people could walk through them, and they were very creepy, and they had everything had a certain rotten wood musty smell, and it's just it was unnerving. It was disturbing and unsettling.
We did a lot more in the fourth year than we ever have, and it showed too.
And a lot less plastic sheeting was awesome.
I mean, we had a very good turnout, and I mean, Taddy Bogle.
Taddy Bogle was the main character of the fourth year.
Chester had to step down as the mascot, and Brandon decided to bring a character called Taddy Bogle in, who was a scarecrow essentially.
Holy crap, that mascot was by far one of the coolest mascots I think I've ever seen.
The kids couldn't stand him. They were scared to death of Taddy Bogle. Some of the people wouldn't even get out of the cars, as I recall. They were like, I'm not going near that place, I'm staying right here.
Taddy Bogle, very eerie, sitting on the bed, chewing on the legs, having that major chainsaw, chasing people through his house.
You walk in and he's sitting on the bed, chewing a leg, like, really creepily. Oh my god, it's
just
really
like,
creepy.
wow, because it puts you in the trance that you're actually there.
And then, yeah, but then you go and you, like, walk past him, you think that that's done. You don't even know he's the mascot, and at first, and you walk past him. There's Dave as a zombie or whatever, and then he comes up behind you with a chainsaw. You don't even realize it because he was
And
on
then
the
you
bed.
get like chased into a maze. And
He
it's
does it
just-
really fast. It was really spooky. Yeah.
He was a freak. He ate people's legs, and then he tried to chop them up with a chainsaw, and he had a big old sack on his head. I wish I could draw little faces on him, but then everyone would think it was funny, and it wouldn't like work for the haunted house. And I didn't do it though. But I did steal the leg and pretend to eat it too, because I was a zombie. It was pretty cool.
Lots of blood, and that's where, when you came through in the haunted house, that's where Taddy came out and owned your ass.
Taddy Bogle was a new character and people didn't know who he was, so that made it kind of frightful also.
Okay, I think he was scarier than Chester, but Chester's still like
I
kind of
couldn't
cooler
pick which one was
because
scarier.
he's original.
They're both pretty frightening.
I personally think that Taddy Bogle was actually creepier than Chester, by far.
I guess he was a boy that was neglected and murdered his parents, chopped them up in their bedroom. It's pretty gnarly, blood everywhere. We had a whole house dedicated to their room, and I guess their whole house, awesome torn up bed, you know, refrigerator with hands and blood, just blood, guts, and gore just everywhere, you know.
The mascot for 2008 for the Boondocks was basically deformed kid gets hacked at by his religious parents. A witch brings him back to life. He kills everybody. He haunts that area now. Sort of a Jason-esque kind of sort of thing, but not quite. I mean, he's definitely a very original character, and he was definitely a very creepy character because he wore this big homemade potato sack-like head, and it just had these weird stitchings and these big open eyes painted around the eyes black, and he wore these baggy flannel shirts and long pants with the boots, and his weapon of choices were an axe and the same chainsaw Chester had. I thought it might be a cool thing to kind of carry over the torch of Merritt on Terror Nights was the chainsaw, because it had been used in the first year, the second year, the third year, and now the fourth year. So I don't know if people really ever noticed it was the same one, but it was definitely very distinguishable because it has a certain to it that most chainsaws don't have.
The props we had that year were awesome, you know, rummaging through people's trash to find old dressers and mirrors and baby pictures that, you know, were just creepy as hell. The lighting was awesome, you know. That was a good year. Again, you know.
The smells, the appearance, the sounds, it was very, very eerie. It was exactly how I viewed something like that would look like. And I mean, I'm very glad that we went with the Boondocks idea.
Decoration, not decoration, maybe separate rooms were better, because all the insides were like, they were really creepy. I thought that was really cool. But a year before, the third year, there's like a lot more hand-painted looking stuff, and more of like a cool, like, yeah, I'm having fun theme. So it was kind of cool, but if both were incorporated, I think it would be really cool, because I want to see some artistic stuff as well as some really creepy, twisted stuff at one time, and it would be like a sensation for the mind.
People would come out of the scary, I guess the first house you would say, with the scary baby picture, come out not expecting a thing, you know, and I just rip my chainsaw right in front of their face, and it just scared the shit out of them. People run and scream.
The fourth year was very well received. It was definitely more underground than the third year because we didn't do a lot of advertising and we didn't have Florida Today and stuff out there, but we had a lot of people show up for such a little bit of advertising, and everybody loved it. We got the most donations we ever had.
The lack of media really, I don't think it really hurt us that bad, because at that point we would already had a pretty decent following.
Everybody says it's better than that crap at Kiwanis Island. Some of the people were at the JC's one in Orlando and they said it was better. A couple of kids said this was scarier than Halloween Horror Nights.
I'm actually pretty satisfied with the turnout for the fourth year. I was very surprised with how many people actually showed up, considering that we didn't have the media like we did the third year.
And this has really come a long way from the get-go. I remember from the beginning I was like, no one's gonna come from this, what are you talking about? It's crazy. And it's awesome. I look forward to it every year.